Hey everyone, it's Kenji. The recipe that you're about to see is more than a recipe. It's a set of core techniques that you're going to use over and over in your cooking to create dozens of new dishes. If you want to get this recipe for free, you can find the link below to my Patreon. But if you want to help me shape my next cookbook and join the best community of food nerds on the internet, you can join at the cookbook club level. And you'll not only get this recipe, but 3 extra recipes every month that use some of the techniques and core principles that you're going to learn on this channel. So I'll see you over on Patreon. Hey everyone, it's Kenji. We're making some tempura today. So this is actually the first video we're shooting in this new kitchen. I don't know if it's the first video that's going to come out, but it's the first video we're shooting in here. And Erin told me not to look up that way too much so that you can't see all the mess that's back there. But there it is. So we're going to make some tempura today. I'm going to first start by just making like a real basic tempura batter and then doing some tempura vegetables, and then we'll go on to do some more fun stuff. So tempura is a Japanese dish, but it was brought to Japan by the Portuguese several hundred years ago, Portuguese missionaries. So the concept of frying fish in a batter actually stemmed originally from Portugal before it got to Japan and then eventually evolved into tempura. One of the big differences you'll see in tempura versus other types of battered and fried fish is that tempura batter is going to be like really, really light, really crispy, and sort of really airy. So, lots of crispness, not a lot of volume. And the goal with a lot of tempura, the goal is to really highlight the flavor of the vegetable underneath or the fish underneath, which is why like in tempura restaurants in Japan, you'll often find, a lot of really seasonal vegetables because it's a good way to highlight their flavors. All right, so in here so far, I've got a half cup of all-purpose flour, a quarter cup of cornstarch, and a quarter cup of potato starch. Cornstarch and potato starch, they're both pure starches, but cornstarch turns into more of a loose sort of slurry, whereas potato starch, when it cooks, it turns into sort of a more gel-like, glassier substance. So by combining the two, you get this kind of lightness and crispness in there. And then the wheat flour helps to add some color and a little bit of structure. All right, so we're also going to season that with just a little bit of salt and MSG. All right, and then for our liquids, we're going to start with an egg, whole egg. Okay, and then I'm going to grab some ice cold vodka and ice cold club soda here. So why vodka, why club soda, why ice cold? So you can make a tempura batter with water. You'd want to use very cold water if you're going to. So I'm going to add actually about a quarter cup of this. Here. So the whole point of tempura, what happens is that as that loose, light batter hits the oil, the liquid in there vaporizes, and that's what causes it to become really sort of, that's hot, light and frothy. And because alcohol is more volatile, vaporizes at a lower temperature, by using alcohol in here, you get a little bit more of the sort of bubbling right when it goes into the oil so that you get more crispness. And similarly with the club soda, the bubbles in there are going to also help sort of lighten up the batter. You can do it with regular seltzer water, regular carbonated water. Club soda has sodium added to it, and that actually helps it retain its bubbles a little better. And cold things also retain their bubbles better, so you want to keep all this kind of ice cold until the moment you're ready to cook. So it's about half cup of the ice cold seltzer water. All right, so to combine these now, I've got my wet and my dry together. I'm going to pour the wet into the dry. Chopsticks are the best tool for this. And so I'm going to shake with one hand the bowl and then shake my chopsticks with the other one. And what we want is to combine this. We don't want it to become like a smooth pancake batter. Like lumps like that are actually a good thing in this batter. We just don't want to overmix it. So we want it to be a little bit uneven like that. Okay? And then we're going to start dipping in our vegetables. I just got a few things here. So we'll start with some sweet potato. Sweet potato, one of my favorite things, sweet potato and squash tempura. I love it. Okay, so we dip it in, and you want to slowly, slowly lower it into the oil like that. You don't want to drop it from high because that's how you end up splashing hot oil on yourself and burning yourself. So you can see like kind of immediately how the batter just really puffs up and bubbles, and that's exactly what we're looking for. If you want to get your potatoes even sort of crispier, what you can do is get like your fingertips on here and make like a little bit of batter, and then kind of nestle your potato into that so that it grabs onto those bits of batter. Our oil here is at around 350 degrees or so. Once you get your stuff in here, you want to kind of Make sure you don't drip water into it. But you want to kind of keep things moving so that you're getting fresh oil on them kind of at all times. Okay, and we really don't need a ton of color on these. Tempura cooks very, very fast. So let's pull those out. And then we'll get our other vegetables in. You can use like a spider, like a metal spider for doing all this, which I will use to get all the sort of bits out, but I find these giant chopsticks are the best thing for actually kind of maneuvering food around in there, you know? All right, give our oil a little clean. And then let's get our next things in there. Let's do the onion. We're a little hot. I think I see like very light wisps of smoke going, so that means we're at like probably more like a little over 400 degrees right now. You can use whatever oil you like. You just want it to be like a sort of high temperature friendly neutral oil. This is just plain vegetable oil, which, you know, in the US means that it's probably a mixture of soybean oil and corn oil. But generally, sort of the higher the saturated fat content of your oil, the crisper your foods are going to come out cooked in it. You know, so if you fry in like peanut oil, you're going to get a much crisper result, or shortening, you're going to get a crisper result than going with straight up vegetable oil. Onion rings, let's do these scallion thingies, whatever you call them, scallion mops. So we don't want to crowd our pan, so let's just leave it at that one for now. All right, and again, we do want to keep things moving. This is one of my favorite ways to make onion rings, actually. I used to work at a restaurant where I was on the tempura station. And one of the rules of tempura actually is that, you know, that you can't let the batter sit around for too long. The longer you let it sit, sort of the more hydrated and smooth that flour gets, and the less it kind of puffs and crisps, and the tougher it gets. So if you're doing a lot of tempura, you want to be remaking your batter every, 15 minutes or so. But yeah, I used to work at a restaurant where I made a lot of tempura, and we had customers who would come in and request, 100% onion tempura instead of their mixed vegetable things. We also had someone who would come in and ask for a plate of tempura avocado. It was like 2 avocados worth of tempura avocado. And tempura avocado is not really my favorite thing, but they enjoyed it. All right, I'm going to do my last thing. I'm going to sneak an onion ring. Oh, light and crispy and good. Season it with a little badot. All right. Last thing we're doing is, this is a seasonal green. It's called shungiku. So it's actually the greens from a specific type of chrysanthemum. It's a seasonal green. It comes out like sort of late. Right now, it's actually a little bit early for it right now. It'll usually come out sort of late summer through early winter. And they've got like a kind of nice, interestingly bitter flavor to them. And they work really nicely in tempura. Alright, same deal. We're going to keep things moving around. And as that finishes up, I'm going to make a real quick dipping sauce here. So I've got, this is some dashi I made. So I'm going to do like not that much dashi. So I'd say it's about like 80% dashi, about 5% soy sauce, and 15% meating, so sweet wine. Okay. You guys all done in here? I think so. Whew. I love when you do these like frilly greens and, the batter like gets up in between them, and so you get these kind of, let me pull it out and show you. You get these like, caverns of crispness, Can you see those caverns? All right. It's like a good way if you want to like feel like you're eating greens, but get all the health benefits of like potato chips. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna taste this sauce real quick. That tastes good. All right, so I'm also going to put some radish in there, grated daikon. Grated daikon is like if you've ever eaten something and thought to yourself, I wish this tasted more the way like a fart smells, then you should get more daikon in your diet. All right. It's good. Super light and crispy. Yeah, even these potatoes that we cooked at the very beginning, like, listen to this. Ready? We can dip it in a wet sauce. Let me try this one. I love these. I love shungiku. It's got, yeah. When you cook it with tempura like this, and it gets the texture, and then you get this, the sweetness and the saltiness from the sauce, but then shungiku has this like bitterness to it, so you get this like really nice mix of flavors. All right, that's how you make tempura. That's how I do it. The trick is to make it extra crispy and more foolproof. Instead of using straight up water in your batter, you use a mixture of club soda and vodka, all ice cold. One of the reasons I love doing vegetables and tempura is that, when you go to a tempura restaurant in Japan, or at least in the US for the most part, you get tempura as like a part of a bigger menu, like you might be like at a ramen shop or a sushi place and you get tempura as the appetizer. But typically in Japan, like if your restaurants like specialize a lot. So in the same way that there are omakase sushi restaurants that are going to serve seasonal fish and local fish, there are like omakase tempura restaurants that serve seasonal local seafood and sometimes meat as well, but most often seafood and vegetables, seasonal stuff. We went to one of those in Tokyo, and it was a good one in the basement of a mall. Although I think my favorite tempura experience was when we were in Niigata, and we had, I don't even remember the names, but we had these 3 vegetables that I had never seen before that they had harvested like from the side of the mountain there and served as tempura with nothing. It was just tempura and a little bit of salt. That's it. Anyhow, that's tempura. Guys, gals, non-binary pals. See you later. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Head over to KenjiLópez-Alt.com. There you can find links to join my Patreon. There's various tiers with different perks, but that's where you're going to find all of my printed recipes. Most of them are for free. You'll also get access to special perks like new product releases, early access to things, live streams, AMAs. At KenjiLópez-Alt.com, you'll also find my shop where you'll find all of my books. You can get them signed and personalized, shipped anywhere in the world, as well as my products and product collaborations. You'll also find live event listings there. I do live events sometimes. And I'd love to see you come by. All right, see you later.